Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Politics Now. We're talking about modern politics in modern America, and today we are going to be discussing why DeSantis is falling in the polls and his chance of winning Florida are becoming worse and worse by the day that keeps going on. And yeah, let's just get into that. So, DeSantis recently he has gone down quite a bit in the polls, and he is at his lowest point since around I think the beginning of this poll, and he was 18.5 here, and he's 18. Yeah, he's at his lowest point since this time last year. Jeez. Yeah, so DeSantis has been at his lowest low since this poll has even begun, which was last year, even before this time last year. So it's technically over a year, where he is now at his all-time low. And if you're gonna win Florida, you can't be at your all-time low because then you're not gonna win the primary. And especially now that a ton of polls are coming out in Florida, you're not gonna win Florida either. You have plus 20, plus 8, plus 3, and the more that time goes on, you see these polls rising and rising for Trump support, and now there's a spread of 10.3, and likely when more polls come out, they're still going to be having Trump going up and up and up until he eventually reaches a point so high that DeSantis really has no shot of winning Florida, because this is a very important state to win, because it is a majority vote takes all the points and the votes, where you need to win a majority to even win the state, and you win all of the electors. And if you don't win that state, especially if you are the popular governor of Florida, you're not going to win. You're not. DeSantis is only riding on Florida. He could lose every single state, maybe even Utah, but once Florida comes and he loses that, it's over. His campaign was already over when it announced, but that would be the end of the end, where it's the final swan song for the ultimate destruction of what was DeSantis 2024. It's just a failure. It's an absolute joke that shouldn't have happened, but of course he had to throw himself into the ring, and his campaign directors are not handling it that great at all. Yeah, he's just not doing well, and it gets sadder and sadder the more time goes on, because Trump, he's only been staying at around 50%, which honestly is pretty good when your opponent is only losing more and more support. He doesn't have to do anything. He could just not join any debate. He could do nothing right now and he would win. And honestly, he has so much of a lead over everybody else. It's really not realistic to say that DeSantis will win, or maybe it might be unrealistic to say that he'll even win states like Florida, Utah, which if you can't win Florida or Utah, you're not going to win any other state, because those are the most pro DeSantis states. And he's only up by a little bit and is actually down in some polls for Florida and Utah. And honestly, you're not going to win. It's a complete dumpster fire that for some reason is being dragged on and is only hurting the party and hurting our chances of winning 2024, because DeSantis for some reason is just committed to dragging his feet in the mud and refusing to leave, even though he's not going to win. You might as well just leave now and maybe have a little bit of credibility left and try and build that back up so you have a future in politics. But of course not. He's going with the 2016 neocon strategy of, I don't care about my reputation, I only care about getting rid of Trump. And now he's at his year high low, and even more than that, because honestly, he was around this time last year, he was still a good 3 points up, where now he's at 18.5, and Ramaswamy is seriously looking like he might take him over. and Mike Pence even though Mike Pence, yeah, Mike Pence might not because he's like the backup of the backup, where Mike Pence, he's pretty much destroyed any credibility that he has left. I don't think Mike Pence will get second place or even third place at this point. Ramaswamy will probably overtake him or Tim Scott, but Tim Scott, he's gotten a little bit of a boost, but Tim Scott is still relatively unpopular and is the backup to the backup to the backup. It's all of these candidates down here are all backups in case DeSantis fails, where they'll probably prop up Mike Pence or Nikki Haley, and then if that fails, Tim Scott, and then if everything goes to complete shit, which it probably will, they'll back Chris Christie, which backing Chris Christie, that would be a really funny thing to see, because he has absolutely no chance of winning. I mean, DeSantis already has barely any chance of winning, but Chris Christie has absolutely no chance of winning, and DeSantis is likely to fall even further with Ramaswamy probably passing him and maybe even Mike Pence passing him. Mike Pence could probably be in third place while DeSantis is in fourth, where you have the same thing that happened to Jeb Bush, where he was supposed to be the front runner. He was going to be the obvious candidate, but of course he didn't realize that he couldn't really win the election, and when the people backing him realized that, they immediately jumped ship and backed all the other candidates that were against Trump, which, didn't turn out that well at all, and Trump had less of a chance of winning in 2016. Now he's a former president who still is very popular within the Republican Party, and his main opponent is basically completely defunct, because 18.5 is not a way to win a primary, because nobody wins a primary above 50%. Yeah, you need to be above 50% or at least have 50% to have a actual chance of winning. But he was at 20, and now he's below 20. He's heading towards 15%, which with that, you're not winning anything. That's around the poll numbers that Trump's main opponent in 2020, which there was really nobody running except one guy, but that's around his numbers, which, well, he won 0 states, so it's not really going to go well for him. But honestly, DeSantis running now, it's just a stupid idea. It was a stupid idea, and I don't know what he's even thinking. He's not going to win. He's just going to destroy his political chances of any future in politics. And he's just going to be another forgotten candidate who basically played the same failed strategy of being supported by neocons and running this anti-Trump campaign during Trump's popularity, which is not a good strategy. We've seen them all lose during 2016. We saw that one guy lose during 2020, and now we're seeing everyone lose during 2024. You can't do that. He should have waited until 2028 to be the successor, gain the Trump nomination, and then completely sweep the floor with everybody else. Maybe not during the debates, because DeSantis is not very good at debating. He does not have a lot of charisma at all, which is probably one of his biggest weaknesses, because honestly, DeSantis is a complete void of charisma and debate talent, where you basically need to give him a whole year-long class for him to even have a shot of winning the debates during August and any debates past that, where he's not very good at debating, and once the debates start, he's going to third or fourth place. It's not going to be pretty. Trump will likely not join the first debate, where everyone will dogpile on DeSantis, and then Trump whips out his home run bat and then completely annihilates DeSantis in the second debate. And yeah, that's how Trump wins the presidency and the nomination, where DeSantis, he's the only real competition that he has, and his campaign is currently on fire. So DeSantis, give up. It's not worth it. Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think? Leave that in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.